All right, just calm down, relax, and take a deep breath. You ever hear that before? It's very common if someone is agitated, aggravated, upset, overwhelmed, throwing a tantrum, especially children, to give them the actionable advice of simply taking a deep breath, calming down. And it sounds trite and cliche, and we've heard it all before. But there's a lot of truth to that. Why is that? Why is it that taking a deep breath is powerful and actionable advice? Well, it's one of the few things we actually have control over. We don't really have control over much of our autonomic nervous system. We don't really have much control over how our heart beats, although we can go out for a jog and raise that heart rate. We don't have control over our breathing fully, because if you want to hold your breath, see how long you can hold your breath for before your body passes you out, and then you start breathing automatically again. And our blood pressure, our nervous system, our stress hormones, adrenaline, cortisol, a lot of these reactions to stress are just natural reactions. They're just that. They're trained reactions based upon the stimuli. And whatever we're facing, if it raises our anxiety or stress levels, it's going to cause a very autonomic nervous system reaction based upon our previous conditioning. But we can change that conditioning. We can recognize when we're stressed out, and instead of reacting in a stressed out way, we can choose to observe how we're reacting and then choose a response, a healthy response. So if we notice that we're breathing shallow and stressfully and anxiously, we can choose to breathe a bit more deeply and relax ourselves and calm ourselves down. My name is Ed Hegan. I'm a former New York City firefighter, and I'm a mindfulness, meditation, and breathwork coach. And I teach people to manage the stress in their lives and to find inner peace by understanding their emotions and learning to regulate their nervous system. And one of the key ways that we can do that is to understand the power of our breath and why breathing consciously is a game changer, and how it's one of the most actionable tools that we can take to improve the quality of our lives and our health, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And so if we understand the way our breathing works, we can tap into that power, and we can use that knowledge to our advantage and control our physiological state and also our emotional state. You see, we have two different approaches to the way that we react to stress. The top-down approach, in which the things that we are thinking are going to create a physiological reaction. But we can also do the bottom-up approach and change our physiology through the power of breathwork to actually relax our mind. That's the bottom-up approach. So if we think about our systems, our brain and our body, they can work in tandem. And this is a really powerful way for us to take control of our mental and emotional health, and also our physical health. Because the more we're in a chronic state of stress, the more unhealthy we are, the more suppressed our immune system is. It is very unhealthy for us to be in a constant state of fight or flight and response mode. So those people that work in careers of service, whether it's military, veterans, first responders, nurses, doctors, sometimes they're so used to being in a state of fight or flight or a state of response mode that they get stuck there chronically, and they can get stuck in that state of response mode. And so for people that have been stuck in a chronic state of response mode for years or even decades, it's really important that we learn how to unlock, using the keys of mindfulness and breath work, to unlock this ability to reduce our stress levels and bring ourselves from a state of fight or flight into a state of rest and digest. And a simple yet powerful way to do that is to simply practice breathing using the diaphragm. And what that simply means is we're going to bring the belly button away from the spine. So if you want, you can put your hand on your belly button and actually breathe in through the nose and just bring your belly button away from the spine. It's almost like you're giving yourself a little Buddha belly, a little pregnant belly. And you can release that nice and slowly through the mouth. And a 2-part breath would be to breathe using the diaphragm, breathing the belly button away from the spine. And then the second part is to bring more air into the chest. And so we can do that 2-part breath, which is a really powerful breath, and then slowly release again, blowing it out slowly like smoke. Now, the reason that we blow out slowly like smoke is because if we think about the blood cells has a certain amount of spaces on that blood cell is like a bus, and that bus carries around different nutrients and oxygen and different gases. And if we want to get more oxygen into our body to relax ourselves, we don't want to necessarily hyperventilate. Hyperventilate means we take in too much oxygen. And if you ever notice, a child, when they're crying, they can go into that hyperventilation stage where they're and they're literally trying to, their body is taking over for them and forcing them to suck more oxygen in an attempt to relax the body. That's a very natural reaction to stress. So we can take a conscious step towards relaxing ourselves. Instead of hyperventilating like a child, we can instead choose to take a nice, long, slow, deep breath. But when we exhale, we make the exhale longer than the inhale. And when we make the exhale longer than the inhale, we offload more CO2, more carbon dioxide. When we unload more carbon dioxide, it frees up some seats on that bus of the blood cell and allows us, when we take another deep breath, to take more oxygen into that blood cell and thereby more oxygen into our bodies and relaxing us and regulating us. So if you want to get more oxygen, you don't necessarily need to breathe harder and faster or even deeper. You can simply make your exhale longer than your inhale. So if you understand that basic premise of breathing first into the belly and then the chest, and you can even hold it for a few seconds, 3, 2, 1, and slowly blow it out, like blowing out smoke or breathing through a straw. That is a really great way to take a deeply nourishing and relaxing breath. And that I'm doing it in an exaggerated way here, where I'm saying breathe in through the nose, fill the belly, fill the chest, hold, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release like smoke. Now that's obvious that I'm doing that, but you can take that same tool and you can simply breathe into the belly, chest, hold, and blow it out. And just consciously blow it out slowly. And you can do that while you're in the middle of talking to people, out at a social event, on a Zoom meeting. If you are a first responder, you can do it on the fire truck, in the police cruiser. You can do it on your way into going to a shift at the firehouse or the precinct, or maybe you're going off on a deployment and you want to ground and regulate your nervous system before you go into battle. So these are actionable tools that we can use to take deep, nourishing, healthy breaths. And these breaths will keep us more balanced and grounded when naturally and normally when the bell goes off or the phone call comes in. We automatically, our blood pressure, our cortisol, adrenaline, our stress hormones spike through the roof, and we go into this more thoracic, primal breathing where we're about to go into fight or flight mode. And we need to do this because if you think about it, the body needs to get more oxygen if it's ready to do battle. That oxygen is going to go to the vital organs. And it's going to allow our muscles, the adrenaline and the cortisol, the stress hormones, that adrenaline is going to help us to either fight for our lives or make an attempt to flee for our lives. And so that natural reaction is designed to protect us. We don't want to get rid of that response. But in the modern day and age, we oftentimes we actually react to things that are not really threatening our lives as if they are putting us in mortal danger. Sometimes we can receive a notification that there's layoffs happening at work, or we get bad news about a friend and we're concerned about their health or well-being. And we can react as if our lives are in danger. But we have to try to put the things that happen to us into perspective and realize that the modern stressors are not necessarily life-threatening. And so we can choose, instead of reacting as if we're in a state of fight or flight, fighting for our lives, we're actually able to bring ourselves back into a state of rest and digest by breathing slowly and consciously through the nose, filling up the belly, and releasing it nice and slowly, keeping ourselves grounded and regulated. So when you think about it, how do you want those decisions in life to be made? If you're going to be doing something, speaking to someone, making a decision, taking action, planning your life, do you want to make these decisions from a place of stress where you're feeling overwhelmed, anxious, or fearful? Of course not. So this is why breathing consciously is so important and so effective. Because if we can start developing and practicing the awareness about how we respond to stress, we can choose to breathe in healthier ways. So when we notice ourselves activated, if we choose to breathe deeply into the belly and breathe in a way that is in alignment with us staying grounded and peaceful, any decision we make, any actions we take, any words that we speak, or connections or relationships we have with other people are going to come from a place of being peaceful, relaxed, and grounded. And wouldn't our lives be better if our decisions were made from a place of health, peace, and wellness? Yeah, I agree. So next time you notice yourself getting stressed out, if you feel your blood pressure going up, if someone says something and it triggers you or aggravates you, just keep in mind, you can always take a deep breath in through the nose, fill up the belly, fill up the chest, hold, 4, 3, 2, 1, slowly release. Try one with me. Exhale all the air out of your lungs. Breathe in slowly through the nose, filling up your belly. Fill up your chest. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Blow it out like smoke. One more time. Breathe in slowly through the nose, filling up your belly. Fill up your chest. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1, and slowly blow it out like smoke. And in this moment, simply notice, what am I seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching? Tap into the power of your 5 senses. You're alive, you're in the present moment, you're breathing consciously, you're aware. Do you hear the sound of my voice with more clarity? Do you see the things around you? Do you feel a little bit more relaxed and grounded? Good. As you should. Support yourself. Support your health and healing and wellness. Improve the quality of your life physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually by choosing to start practicing greater awareness around the times when you're triggered, aggravated, annoyed, stressed out, overwhelmed. And when you become aware that you're activated and triggered, take a deep breath into the belly. and use the power of conscious breathing to improve the quality of your life. And if you like this video, please like it and subscribe and share it with somebody that you think might benefit from its message. If you want to learn more about meditation, mindfulness, breathwork, and the power of understanding the stress response, you can reach out to me for one-on-one coaching at edwoodstock.com, or you can send me a DM. And if you want to learn more about working with me for an 8-week program, or if you'd like to learn about getting a guided meditation that is custom tailored for the challenges you're facing in your life, send me a DM or book a free discovery call at edwoodstock.com. And thanks for watching, and I hope you tune in next time.